Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the presenters series for the IACT IMDHA Hypno Expo 2024. This is the second episode in our series of bringing to you discussions from those teachers and trainers who will be offering pre and post-conference programs at the Expo. And in fact, we're here tonight to talk with Bruce Eimer, and we're going to be introducing him in just a moment. As has already been said, this meeting is being recorded, and that means that you can look at it again, or you can let your friends know where to find it, because it will be posted on the IAC9BHA website. It will also be posted on the virtual chapter Facebook page, and it will be posted on the virtual chapter YouTube channel. So there you are. It's great to have you all here, and we're looking forward for the evening. Karen, would you
do the honors? I would
take the
love
comments?
to. Yeah, I would love to, because we have a special guest who I've seen a couple of times, and he really knows his stuff. Bruce Eimer. He's a board certified licensed clinical psychologist who's been using clinical hypnosis to help parents control, or help people and patients and parents probably too, control pain since 1986. He has a full-time hypnotherapy and psychotherapy practice in South Florida. Bruce has authored over 8 books on pain, psychotherapy, and hypnosis. Dr. Eimer regularly teaches workshops on pain control hypnosis at hypnotherapy, psychology, psychotherapy. Physicians, dentists, and nurses are all in his bank of students. And we are lucky enough to have him here talk about what he's going to be teaching pre-conference this year, hypnosis for surgery preparation. Wow, Bruce, tell me, what is that all about?
Hypnosis for surgery. I thought we were doing taming pain today.
Yeah, actually, I thought we were doing pain this evening as well.
Oh, okay, then we'll do taming pain, and he'll talk about surgery next time.
If I might, Karen, just mention one little thing, and I'm sorry about the little rough start there. You know, it's rare that we get to have somebody present twice, Bruce. So we're just taking it back the idea. But here's what the deal is. For those of you who have got the catalog and were preparing or reading through it and getting ready to sign up for the conference, you may have seen the course offered targeting pain by Dan Cleary. And Dan had some changes that he had to make, and he wasn't able to be with us. And God bless you, Bruce, for stepping up and taking on the second one. Bruce has taught pain work with our conference before, and we're really happy to have him back. So there you go, Bruce. Welcome.
Thank you. Nice to be here. It's always a pleasure hanging out with you, Michael, and the times that we get to hang out, Karen, is also very nice.
Yes, it is. So, Bruce, talk about taming pain then. Let me stand corrected or sit corrected on that.
Oh, yeah. So basically, I had to change the name from targeting pain to taming pain, because I use the concept of taming pain to be the antithesis of fighting it. You see, most people think of fighting pain, that we talk about taking painkillers, and nothing wants to be killed. So that when you try to kill something, it generally fights back. And with pain, I found over the years that it's better to take a softer approach, because we want to teach patients to soften the pain so they can get pain relief. And when you tame something, you soften it, you form a relationship with it, and you understand it better. And that's what it's all about.
So maybe the place to start, because this is just such an exciting program, and one that I think all of us need to have in our repertoire. So first of all, so I've just answered the question I was going to ask you, Bruce. I said I think all of us need to have this in our repertoire. Now, forget that I said that for a moment, and I'm going to ask you, who do you think really should take this particular program?
Oh, okay. Glad you asked that question, Michael. I think that all health professionals should take this program. And that would include certainly the cadre of professional hypnotherapists that are members of IMDHA and IACT, professional therapists and counselors, psychologists, as well as physicians and dentists and maybe pastoral counselors, licensed clinical social workers, licensed mental health counselors. If I left anybody out, I apologize. Nurses, for sure.
Nurses, sure.
Yeah. And why? Why should all this vast group of helping professionals take a course like this? Because pain is ubiquitous in the world, and people need to know how to help people to get pain relief. You know, pain may be mandatory, but suffering is optional.
Mhm.
I worked in hospital settings for so many years, even in nursing homes, and it's abysmal, not just abominable, but abysmal to listen to the way so many nurses and doctors talk to patients. They just don't know how to use language. They use language that results in iatrogenesis of negative ideas, which perpetuate unnecessary suffering. So the more we can reach various health professionals, medical professionals, dental professionals, and allied health professionals, as well as hypnotherapists, the better. But let me just add one more thing. I think that hypnosis, well, I know that hypnosis is a natural for pain control. And there are so many hypnotherapists out there that really don't know enough about pain, acute and chronic, and how to work with people with pain, acute versus chronic, or subacute and chronic. And what I do in my trainings is I teach people from the ground up how to work with patients or clients that have persistent pain syndromes. And so I teach the fundamentals. And then in the more advanced trainings that I do, I teach people more advanced techniques of using hypnosis to help people in pain to get out of pain.
Bruce, is self-hypnosis a big part of the whole plan?
Yes, it really is. You know, there's really no value in teaching, in working with patients to use hypnosis for pain relief unless you can make the results portable. I remember the medical director of a pain clinic that I worked at for 7 years up in Philadelphia at a teaching hospital. She came in one day into my office and she said she had gone to a conference on mindfulness up in Boston, Massachusetts. And she said she thought that mindfulness might be a better thing to teach patients than self-hypnosis. I asked her why. Her answer was, because it seems as if with mindfulness, you can teach patients how to use it and then they can take it with them. And I said, but Kathy, I use hypnosis all of the time to teach patients coping skills and pain control skills. And I said, I can tell you all about it. How much time do you have? But she had to rush off to give patient another nerve block, so she never came back to find out more. She didn't need to. She didn't really have much interest in it. What she needed to know was that people got better, and they did.
And it really is. I love the way you call it, making it portable. It's important that they can tap into it when they need it the most, is it not?
Absolutely. And I have to pay homage to where homage is due. Actually, I believe it was Dan Cleary that I first heard the concept of making hypnosis for pain control portable. And I mean, that's not a novel concept, but yet it is very, very important. And when you think about it, what we do as professional hypnotherapists when we utilize post-hypnotic suggestions is to make the hypnotic treatment that we render in the office portable so that it is able to be a response, unconscious response, an automatic response to cues in the client or patient's environment. And of course, we do that with pain, and self-hypnosis is, of course, a more elaborate way. We use post-hypnotic suggestions and self-hypnosis training together.
Do you mind taking questions? Steve has his hand up. Steve, go for it.
There you go. I use a lot of hypnosis. I did volunteer work at one of the major hospitals here in Phoenix, and they gave me run of the hospital. I get to go in the emergency room up in everywhere. And what we couldn't say is hypnosis. They said guided imagery. But yet the scripts that they had were just kind of relaxation. I changed it and everything and did the way I wanted to. And in the ER, I worked with people who were in there screaming with pain, and in 10 or 15 minutes, I had them down. I had one lady, the nurse came in and she says, I got your drug here. It's going to put you to sleep and relax you. She said, I don't need that SHIT anymore. I'm fine. Just get me out of here.
Thank you for sharing that, Steve. Bruce, let me ask, do you hear that kind of thing a lot?
I did that for 5 for
Steve, I'm turning this back over to Bruce because he's got a limited amount of time to tell us what he's going to teach us. So I'm asking him if he hears that a lot, that I just don't need the pain meds anymore.
Well, I think that I hear it. I've heard it a lot, but it's a function of how motivated a person is to get off of pain meds, you know. People that are completely that are looking for pain meds and can get pain meds generally don't care about anything else other than getting pain meds. But if there's a reason to get off pain meds, then then people are searching for something else because for whatever reason they can't have pain meds anymore. And then they learn about hypnosis, and if they're motivated, they really see after they experience hypnosis and they get trained to respond to hypnosis and learn self-hypnosis portable exercises, they're really glad, and they start to recognize. One of the things I say to patients, which I will teach in my 2-day workshop at the post Hypno Expo on Monday and Tuesday, right after the conference, I'll be teaching how to explain to patients why hypnosis can be of immeasurable help. And I talk about the fact that when your body gets habituated to the ingestion of external opioids, that the hormonal factories in our bodies essentially shut down because they're no longer considered, our bodily genetic programming that essentially directs the production of internal pain relievers such as enkephalins and endorphins. Those factories shut down, and the body becomes physically and psychologically dependent on the external opioids. So that's part of the reason why there's such a tremendous withdrawal when opioids are shut off. And patients start to recognize the value of restarting and refurbishing their bodily factories for the production of pain-relieving chemicals.
Is there, you were talking about opioids and that kind of thing. We know the side effects. We know what happens. Are there side effects to hypnosis?
Yeah, feeling better. There are no negative side effects to hypnosis unless hypnosis is used inappropriately by either an unethical or a poorly trained practitioner. Let me say something, though, that's really, really important. We'll talk about this in the course. In the course that I teach, I really teach a lot about the nature of pain, the nature of pain mechanisms, the physiology, the neurophysiology, and the psychology of pain. This is all stuff that's really important to know, as well as different kinds of pain syndromes. You see, having hypnosis and knowing how to do it and use it as a tool doesn't give you sort of like the qualifications, you see, to treat something that you don't know anything about. So it would be like knowing how to use a scalpel really well, but not being trained as a surgeon, So the point here is that what was your question again? I got tangential, but I know it was.
I think we were talking about side effects of hypnosis, but I do want to follow that up with, are there contraindications to using hypnosis for pain control?
Yes. So to just finish that thought, okay? inappropriate use of hypnosis would be when somebody doesn't know anything about pain or about a syndrome that somebody has and says, I know how to use hypnosis, and starts treating them, and you could then mislead the patient, and that's not a good thing. Now, as far as contraindications goes, well, first of all, you don't want to use hypnosis without having an understanding of whether or not the patient has been medically evaluated and treated. Okay. And you don't want to tell people that you can help them to get out of pain that you don't know anything about. Okay. So I recently had a case where, a patient came to me, was referred by a rehabilitation center. He had had his third back surgery. It was his third fusion revision, spinal fusion. And he wanted me to hypnotize him, but I said, well, what is your surgeon's view of what your rehabilitation needs to be, and what kind of pain do you have? And he basically said, I only have pain when I move, but I'm not in pain when I sit still. So I said, well, what kind of movement are you allowed? And of course, the guy was also wearing a very heavy corset brace, which many neurosurgeons and spine surgeons prescribe for patients post-surgery when patients have an unstable spine and they've done a fusion. And he basically said, well, my surgeon hasn't said much other than that I shouldn't start physical therapy yet, and I should limit my movement. And I was thinking to myself about one of the tenets of using hypnosis for pain control, or doing any kind of rehabilitation for pain, and that is, without movement, there is no rehab for pain, because movement is the essence, the sine qua non of health. And the patient was static. So I said, I need to talk to your surgeon to find out what he believes your optimal course of rehab is. His wife contacted the surgery center. The surgeon's assistant responded to his wife with an email that said, the surgeon will not talk to the psychologist, but will send the surgical records. Great. All right. So I saw the patient for follow. I mean, it's not great. I mean, I'm being facetious. So I saw the patient for follow-up twice after that. In fact, I saw him today, and I recognized that he really needed something to improve his sense of well-being, and most importantly, to help him to understand why his pain wasn't less after his third surgery. I asked him, I said, has your pain gotten relieved as a result of the surgery? He said, no, it's about the same. Now, in the course that I teach, I will explain how to handle situations like that, because you see it so often. And so what are you going to do? You're going to say to a patient, well, the research shows that the more surgeries you have, the worse you get. No, that would be iatrogenic. So I had to think of a reframe. And this is what I said. I said, well, your doctor, your surgeon, what did he tell you? And the guy says, well, the surgeon said that there are some things that needed to be fixed inside of the cage that was built in the second surgery by another surgeon around my lumbar spine. And I said, okay, so he wanted to make your spine more stable. Is that right? And the patient said, yes. And I said, well, that's very important, because he doesn't want the structure to fall apart. And so to increase the stability of your spine makes you much more amenable to getting positive results from pain rehabilitation. That was the reframe I gave the patient. So I took something where he was feeling negative about, he wasn't feeling much pain relief, and I turned it into a positive. So I'll be teaching a lot about how to utilize to create reframes for patients that are very pessimistic about their course of recovery from surgery for pain issues.
So in the middle of that, Bruce, Pamela Dans asked a question here that I think is significant, because you're talking about these kinds of medical issues and what it is that that one might need to be aware of. So as someone who, and I'm making assumptions about her question perhaps, but as somebody who might be thinking about taking this course from you, the question is, how much of an understanding of anatomy and physiology do participants in your class need to have?
They don't need to have any understanding other than that they know that the that the elbow is connected to the forearm and the tailbone is connected. You know, no, we're going to start out with very basic stuff. This is not a advanced neuroanatomy course. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to provide enough information for people to further study it if they so are inclined, but also teach people how to explain pain physiology in terms patients can understand.
Great. That's a lot better. You know, one of my own things, and maybe you can answer this for me. I've found that people who, how do I ask this? I don't do a lot of pain work. It quite frankly, it just doesn't really show up in my practice, and it's not the area that I'm in. But once in a while, somebody will, call me, or there's some issue going on. And I've always found that, these skills that we get as hypnotists, learning how to manage pain, learning how to manage sensations in our body, all of that stuff is great and is best learned when one is not in pain. And and yet it seems that the most often the call for it, of course, is somebody who's in a crisis situation. And then not only, now it's not a question of the easy way of learning how to do something. Let's teach them a technique. But so what do you do with people when they're really in the thick of it and you want to be helpful to your clients? How can you begin? Like people that
Yeah,
are in intractable pain.
well, that's a really good question. First of all, there's different kinds of pain, right? There's intermittent, episodic, and then there's continual pain. And pain varies no matter what, no matter even if it's continual. And what I'll do is, number one, for patients that have, the first thing you want to do is you want to help patients recognize that there's variation in their pain, okay? And it's always best to teach people skills when they're calm and when they're able to focus, and then help them to start to practice those skills and then utilize them when they need them in a critical situation. But if somebody comes to me in a severe acute exacerbation of their pain state, my approach is going to be completely different than if I'm working with somebody who is not in such a state, So somebody that's in an exacerbated, agitated, acute pain state, they're not really able to pay attention. So the key is to get their attention, to calm them down, and basically to give them some kind of suggestion to the effect of, would you like to get out of pain? The answer is yes. Well, if you listen to what I tell you to do, I can help you get pain relief now. How many people are going to reject that? You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And that's what you really want to do. And I worked with a guy for many years who was one of my mentors. His name was Dr. Dabney Ewan. In fact, I co-authored a book with him called Idiomotor Signals for Rapid Hypnoanalysis. He was the pioneer, along with David Cheek, in the development of idiomotor techniques in hypnoanalysis. Dr. Ewan was a pioneer in the treatment of burns. He was an emergency room physician in New Orleans at Tulane University Medical School. And I learned how to do this from him. Patients would come in with severe third-degree burns, and they would be in a highly suggestible state, and he would basically take charge immediately and say, my name is Dr. Ewan. I'm here to help you get out of pain. Would you like pain relief now? Yes. Well, just listen to what I tell you to do, and I will help you get out of pain now. And he had their attention.
By the way, Bruce, just to toot your horn a little bit more, when we were introducing you, I don't think we mentioned, Bruce has been the author of several books. One that we mentioned last week, by the way, one that you wrote with Roy Hunter. But also you do have a book on pain control. It's in the other room, and I didn't want to take myself off of the camera to grab it. So I apologize for not remembering the title, but can you tell us about your pain book as well?
Yeah. The latest pain book is, I got it right here. Thank you for the advertisement. The latest pain book is entitled Taming Chronic Pain, a mindful approach for bringing pain relief, or something like that.
Okay.
And it was self-published. Roy Hunter actually helped me to get out of my doldrums and get moving when the book sort of went stalled for a number of years. So he's the second author on this book. And Roy actually taught with me a few courses, taming pain courses in the past. This book is essentially a self-help book for people in pain. And I often, provide it to the right patients. but it's also got a lot of techniques in there so that it's very, I think, useful for people who are hypnotherapists. And this book actually is going to be given complimentarily to all of the folks who take my 2-day pain course at Hypno Expo this May. So you can come get a free copy of Taming Chronic Pain.
Right.
Yeah, it's the textbook.
That's great. I'm thinking the only thing that I ever get complimentarily are the peanuts in the pub. So so this is a pretty good deal. Yeah. So Bruce, we've only got a couple minutes left. I'm afraid the time zips by here. So how about this? Just anything in particular that you want to make sure gets said. This would be the opportunity for you to let
All
people.
right, sure. Let me look at my script notes here. One of the things that I'm going to be teaching at the course, it's going to be the second day of the course. I'm going to be teaching people how to actually do a special hypnotic trance induction that I developed. It's based on Dave Ellman's the Dave Ellman induction. I did a lot of studying with Larry Ellman and Cheryl Ellman, and read Dave Ellman's book Hypnotherapy about 3 or 4 times. And anyway, this induction is called the what is it called? What's my latest term for it? It's the direct eclectic Eimer process induction. Direct eclectic Eimer process induction, or DEEP, DEEP, but deep induction. And I call it that because it is the use of direct suggestions peppered with a little bit of indirect suggestion. And it is eclectic because I utilize a variety of hypnotic phenomena in the induction, both as convincers, as deepeners, and as essentially teaching the beginnings of pain control with hypnosis. So the induction includes, eye catalepsy, and it includes amnesia, and it includes anesthesia, and post-hypnotic suggestion. So it's very useful. It's you can do it quickly, just like the Dave Ellman induction, the DEI. If you're really good at it, you can do it in like 2.5 minutes. This one takes about 3.5 minutes, and then but it's complicated. I mean, there's a lot to learn, and I'm going to be teaching people who take my course how to do this induction. We'll have practice sessions so people can practice it. And of course, they'll have complete instructions in detail so that they can take it home into their practices and use it with patients. It's not only good for pain management, but it's also good for teaching, for working with patients that have addictions, because you can also not only numb pain, but you can numb cravings.
And you'll have 2 full days to get all the goods from Dr. Bruce Eimer. That's a post-conference course, Taming Pain. It'll be Monday and Tuesday, 5/20 and 5/21. Save those dates. Now, Bruce, how do they get into... Bruce is going to be back this time next week, so you've got another chance. But in the meantime, if they want to get in touch with you, how do they contact you, Bruce?
Sure. Well, go to my website, which is bruceeimer.com. And when you go to my website, bruceeimer.com, there's tons of information on there. They can email me. Anybody can email me through the form on the website. And you can call me. Of course, my office number is on there as well. So it's bruceeimer.com. And, between email and phone calls and so forth and so on, that's how you get in touch with me. And,
And that's simple enough. You can also come back this time next week and see him talk about hypnosis for surgery or prior to surgery, which we will get to, I promise you, next week. See you then, Bruce. Thank you very much for joining us.
Thanks, Karen.
And we'll see you in Orlando.
Thank you. Look forward to seeing you again, Karen. Thanks, Michael. Look forward to seeing you soon.
How exciting this conference is going to be. I see that, by the way, I've got to tell you, just for complete transparency, because I know people are watching and they probably wonder if we know what we're doing. And no, we really don't have any idea. We've just shared some conflicting information about which topic was which night and various things. So pardon us for that. We've got our act together now, and thank goodness, because guess what? Just popped on the screen right there in front of us all. I don't know if you noticed, but was the wonderful and talented Monica Geers Dahl. And Monica, we are so glad that you are with us tonight to tell us about your program.
Oh, you're marvelous, Michael. It's great to see you too.
Well, it is. I've got to tell everybody, if I might, and Monica, I just wanted to tease you with it too, because I noticed that in the conference catalog we have shared a seminar name or a workshop name, I'm sorry, a lecture name rather, on a talk that I'm giving called Mind Games, Neurobics, and something further, but mind games, and then there was a colon and neurobics, and then I see you've got something else. And what I know is I have such a great time whenever I see you at the conference, and I know that you've got a lot of exciting things to share with people, as well from your wonderful textbook that the first volume of which is available to everybody at the IACTIME DHA websites, and all of that stuff. So anyway, I really am going to give you as much of the floor as I can. I just might have to stop and gush from time to time, so I hope you will forgive me if I do that. But again,
You're
say hello to
delightful.
everybody and tell them.
Hi, calling in from Gainesville, Florida, where the weather is great. And of course it's dark, but we had sunny days today, and we've had some marvelous weather. I'm doing my electives. Where did I find that? I will attempt, like I did last year, to bring copies of my manuals. Last year, everybody got a copy of my Hypnosis 200 course. And I provided copies for giveaways to the organization. I think I have the hourly giveaways going on. And mine has 4 different sections. It has NLP. Yeah, that's it. Oh no, look closer. I've also reduced the prices on all my books on Amazon. So the 100, the 200, and the 300 series are reduced price for 2024. The electives that I'll be looking at this year are the neurolinguistic programming, and Linda asked me would I please do hypnosis in color again, because she really likes that one. So I've got 1 day. I don't have 4 days, and I again have to consolidate a lot of material, and I'll focus on 2 specific NLP strategies. The first one is going to be the smear technique, which I learned from Father Marty Patton when I was studying at the home of Irene Hickman with Bill Baldwin, and Father Marty was the catcher. And that one, it's really simple. Anyone who knows the NLP, eye accessing cues, knows that up is visual, auditory is side to side. Here I have the kinesthetic, and here I have auditory digital. And it's just bringing the fingers around the face and having a person pick a topic. And then how bad is it? 0, not a problem. Well, it's not, but let's work on something you have a problem with. It's a 10, it's a 9, it's an 8. Okay. And then you have a person follow your fingers, just like the old 2-finger technique, and you follow the eyes around the face, about this far away from the skin. So it's a little bit of a stress, and you're coming a little bit further. Yeah, you're making a circle around the eyes, and you're watching for where you get the nystagmus, the wobble in the eye, because those are the areas that are unresolved issues. And then it's something they're seeing or hearing or feeling or talking to themselves about. And if, like, I see a wobble here, you go back and forth like you're wiping off a chalkboard. Your hand is going back and forth and wiping it off. And you go around 3, 4, 5 times until you start seeing the eyes starting to smooth out, and then you check again. So that issue that you didn't tell me what it was, but you just told me how difficult it was, how is it now? And normally people will go like, oh, something starts at a 9, and now it's like it's a 7. Okay, and then maybe you go in the other direction. You continue until the number that they report is half of what they started with. So if they're starting at a 10, you want to get them to a 5 or less. And then the smear happens when you go back and forth. And that will stimulate past and future and integrate. And you get a person down to that problem's not a problem anymore. You didn't have to hear about it, which prevents secondary trauma. And I'm all about, can we do it fast? Can we use a process that gets rid of a person's problem without having to experience the trauma myself? When I'm doing regressions, tell me the story, using Irene Hickman's pinpoint method. Go to the cause of your problem. Tell me the story again. Tell me how many times do I get to hear it? The most has been 12 times. I might walk out of that session having it really embedded in my mind. And then I'm walking away with some of their stuff. Do I want to do that? No, I'll go cleanse myself. Go. I used to living in Key West. I would go swim in the salt water, bless the room with holy water with some rose water or some incense. Yes. When you're using NLP, there's much less opportunity for having secondary trauma for the hypnotist. Michael, have you used this technique? Did you learn it from Father Marty?
I honestly didn't. Weirdly, I saw Robert Dilts working on something that seems to have been leading up to this, like way back about 1984 or something, and he had me following his finger in order to show something to Steve Andreas. And I didn't know what they were even talking about, except I know that they were really intrigued by the fact that there were certain places where the movement wasn't as smooth as it might have been in other areas, and all this means something. So you mentioned this to me last year, and it was really exciting to hear that maybe, who knows, maybe that's a part of the legacy behind that experience that I had too.
Marvelous, because the eye naturally moves in a jump, and when we make it move in a solid line, fatigues the eye muscles. If anyone does the Dave Elman two-finger eye technique, yeah, you'll notice that the eyes get tired really fast like that. And then tell me when it tugs. And the eyes over there, don't hold your head straight. It's it's tugging now, right? How fast can we fatigue the eyes? In 60 seconds or less. So that's
Right.
the first exercise we're going to do.
Nice.
And I'm looking at the people that are attending, it's a free class, are going to be cleaning themselves out before they come into the rest of the conference, so they come in fresh. The next exercise will be the neurolinguistic programming based on the work of Tad James. Now, when I went to study with Tad, he wasn't there. He had his son Matthew doing the training. And the work is marvelous. Doesn't matter who's teaching it. Later, I got to study with, that name will come to me in a minute, Topher Morrison, who was part of their team. And he was doing specifically the timeline therapy with the release of the 4 negative emotional clusters. So when we got through our material so fast last year that I said, let me pull up some things that I want to do for next year. And I got to watch all the participants doing it very creatively. My training was, there are the 4 negative emotions that can be released that help a person feel better. The anger and fear are stimulants. The sadness and the shame guilt cluster are depressants. And we don't want to release 2 stimulants and let a person go away with their sad stuff. So if you're releasing anger, I ask a person, what do you want to let go of first? Your anger, your fear, your sadness, or your shame, guilt? If they pick a stimulant, the next one is going to be one of the depressants. I don't want to let a person, we've released both depressants and now they're going away with both their stimulants still in place, and then they're going out and picking fights with people. So when we did it last year, as extra stuff, like what else can we work on? People started using all kinds of emotions using the technology of timeline, which is really simple. Here's a problem that I have, and it's right here, right now. And then we draw a line. So somewhere in the past, and for me, and we'll do some exercises of, which direction is your past, and you close a person's eyes, have a person close their eyes, think of something pleasant from the past. Now think of something pleasant from the future. Which direction did you look for something pleasant from the past? And have them point. My past is back there. Which direction is the future? My future's out there. And does it pass beside the body, above the body, through the body? Mine passes through my heart. And I know that when I have an idea coming to me from that direction, it's my past self talking to me. And if I have an idea coming from that direction, it's my future self talking to me. And so we'll learn, and approximately 80% of the people who are right-handed will have a past that's somewhere off to the left and the future of somewhere off to the right. And it's reversed for the average left-handed person. Now that's anecdotal. Do I have data to back it up? Nope, just talking to people and observing that it supports what I learned from the Tad James group and from Topher Morrison. And then we go back in time. We ask the person, it's consent all the way, would you like to release whatever this is, which particular topic you pick now, with your conscious and your unconscious minds? Of course, you give the pause and change the voice around unconscious. Be willing to learn now what you didn't learn then that you need to learn now about the anger, so that you can move forward with greater. And you ask a person, what do they want to move forward to? Joy, peace, contentment. And it's a really fast pattern that the logical mind is going, what is she saying? And the unconscious mind is going, yeah, I can do that. We go back. We stop 5 minutes after the problem event and ask again, with your conscious and your unconscious minds, be willing to learn now what you didn't learn then that you need to learn now. And if the person says yes, then we go above. And I learned this from Marty Patton. Go up there in the middle of nowhere. It's a Milton Erickson concept. So far up there in the middle of nowhere that the mind knows nothing about pain and suffering. It knows about growth and development. And once a person gets up there, now tell me what you've learned now, what you didn't learn then that you need to learn now, so you can put it in the warehouse of learning of what works, what doesn't work, what you want to need but you haven't gotten it. So we'll be practicing that exercise as well. Again, I'm wanting the people who attend this free workshop to just clean themselves out so they can come in and really enjoy the rest of the conference. And then color, well, it's just fun and playful. I think I've covered my topic.
Well, pretty
Oh,
much.
no, wait,
You got-
you mind games. You mentioned mind games.
Yes.
Well, my mind games is all about playing with energy. The work of Anton Mesmer when he's talking about, sweet touch baguette, the baguette, I always say that word, and, the energy field will change. I'm curious about what percentage of the participants who attend, I think it's a free group, can actually see auras. So we'll play and feel it. We'll play with the energy balls. And can you see what's going on inside you? Can you put your hands up against the ceiling? Can you notice the strings of energy, move them back and forth? I'll pass around like I did last year in the same course. A copy of Barbara Brennan's book, Hands of Light. She has a beautiful colored prints in there that show what auras look like. And what I've generally encountered, and again, this is anecdotal, about 52% of the people report that they can perceive these things. And then 48% report they can't. And it's nice to observe, how many of us actually see with those extra eyes, the, back of the head, look out through the forehead kind of extra eyes. And how many are going like, I can't see that. What are you talking about? Once we have finished playing with that, we'll do that quick. Then we'll look at unruffling, which will be, once you've learned how to play with the energy ball, now you sit with a partner and you put your hands on either side of the head and feel the energy field. Notice where you can feel it, where it disconnects, like you've been playing with the energy ball in your hands. Scan down across the body. Look, is it spiky? Is it empty? Is it hollow? Is it warm? Is it cool? All the way smooth down to the bottom of the feet. And then I like to pull the tips off my fingers, like pulling off a big pen cup. And then my long fingers are on and stroke upward across the person's body, the unruffling part. And you get up to the top of the head again, you scan, and then check again. The energy field will generally be smoother. So we'll be doing those kind of practices in mind games. What's your mind games about?
Mind game, my mind games is actually, and the word got attached to it, I think probably because of Gene Houston, and you might remember
Masters
Gene
of
Houston and
right?
Robert Masters' work on mind games. But it's also about something neurobics, which weirdly was a word that I coined in 1982 for an exercise that I had sort of discovered at a Unity church based on a meditation. And then I found out that a guy named James Robert Watson, which is my father's name, actually coined it as a field of study in 1988 and added a whole lot of stuff to it. So a little different than the official thing. But its approaches to stretching your mind and using your brain and keeping it active and stimulating and and all of that sort of stuff. We don't get enough time in our lives to play, Monica. And I think that that's where all the learning and all the discovery, really the best stuff, the best stuff happens, which is why, again, I just really want to support everybody in spending some time with Monica Geers Dahl at this conference because you are just so much fun, my friend.
Playful. I want to play in the fields of the mind with all of the amazing people. I leave the conference feeling fabulous. I come in there uplifted. I leave even more uplifted. The silliness, the happiness, the joyfulness, the learning, growth, and development stays with me for the whole year. And I look forward to the conference every year.
So after people have experienced your wonderful workshop and had all these great experiences, and then they go home and they look back at it later on, what will they have learned?
All the tools that I offer are take-homes. They will have learned how to clear their own mind quickly. The smear technique can be, it's not so easy to do it for myself. I'll have someone else help me if I need a smear technique done. But the timeline, I have offered that to people and they put a little thing in their pocket and they stick it in their back pocket and they can pull it out when I have clients that are having difficulties and don't remember how to do it. Yes, I do that part. The mind games, well, once you become aware of that you're seeing auras, once you become aware of there are people who really don't. it makes you more considerate as a human being working with your clients, because you'll find clients coming in that have spiritual phenomena and they don't have anyone to talk to about it. And then there'll be other people who just, they're materialists and they don't have awareness of it at all. I'm hoping that anyone who attends my workshops leaves with tools of useful growth and development and more compassion for themselves and others.
Great. Well, we still have a little bit of time with you, so I think what we might want to do is just open up the chat room and invite if anybody has any questions for Monica or about the workshop or the program or anything at all. This would be a great time for that.
Monica, I
Yeah.
just want to say how impressed I am that you offer this free, the goodness of your heart. You know, if you guys haven't checked, she's got a free manual on the website. She offers this course and her workshop also because, well, I'm not going to tell it. I want you to tell it. You do this out of the goodness of your heart for free because
We need to build community with each other. I come to these conferences to build community as a hypnotist with other hypnotists. I think this is one of the most important things that we do, and we need to offer each other things, because when we offer things from ourselves to others, it's the selfish part. There's always something in there, right? I'm not just this magnanimous person. When I give things to other people, it creates a vacuum that brings things to me. I get to meet people, amazing human beings, that if I was setting a price on things, I might not be able to meet the kind of people that are coming in because they just want to say, why is this woman giving this thing away for free? If it's not a price on it, it must not be worth much. Well, I believe there's a spiritual world, and I give people more than what they expect because it makes the world grow. It also creates a hole in my pocket, which allows the vacuum to come in. And if you ever studied with Marty Patton, you know about tithing. When you tithe in a church, you give 10%. The idea is not just that you're giving to the church, it's because you're saying thank you for what you're getting back. It's not just right now I'm sitting in and listening to whatever minister is talking to me, but the gift that goes away with me. And then I get fed from it. For every dollar I give to the church, there's at least 10 that comes back to me.
Mhm.
So I like to know that I am giving people more than what they're receiving from me, because I know the divine presence is going to reward me and shower down abundance upon me because of the generosity.
Nice.
Pamela has a question here. She wants to know how long you've been doing this.
I got into the field professionally in 1985. I got exposed to it when I was 8 or 9. Jose de Silva was going around the campuses teaching Silva mind control. They don't call it that anymore. They call it the Silva method. My brother was, well, my dad was a POW, and the children of POWs tend to be a bit odd. And my brother slipped right into that odd, and he was a juvenile delinquent. So my mother had to find anything she could find besides the martial arts classes to defend himself from the stuff he was doing. And he brought home all the Silva mind control material, and I read it all. So I didn't know it was hypnosis at that time, and he wasn't calling it hypnosis at that time. So 1985 is when I got into the field professionally. It was all my free time was tied up providing pro bono services to people. And that's when I decided I needed to be able to earn a living doing this instead of working a job and then all my free time doing this, so that I could actually have free time to play and enjoy myself. I do like to play guitar. I will not be bringing guitars with me to this conference. I did bring them last year because we had Bryce Lemire coming in Greece, if you American style, French style. He's a professional musician in France, and he will not be there this year, so I'm leaving the guitars behind. He says he'll be there again next year. He's translating my work into French. So my work is going back to France, the home of Mesmer. Yay. Did that answer the question properly?
I think. At least in terms of the when, Silva it's interesting. Silva mind control or the Silva method. In my own history, at least, there's a period of time when Werner Erhard and Jose Silva and all of these big group sort of movements of people, and there were a few great teachers out there that really had some interesting things that I think have influenced the direction of what it is that we're all doing now.
Oh, let's be practical. There's finding a parking space.
Yeah.
And I manifest a parking space. Silva method, right? I was in LA studying with Gil Boyne, and I had my weekends free, and I said to my sister, I think I'm gonna go over to Venice. And she went, yeah, good luck getting a parking space there on a Saturday. Like I pulled in, as I pulled in, there's someone pulling out right there in the front. I got it. She goes, how'd you do that? And I went, you took the formal Silva courses while you were living in Costa Rica. And I just read the material. I still use it. The next weekend, I think I will go down to San Francisco to the zoo. It's the last zoo I'll ever attend. I guess the animals in cages, but it's the best in the world. One of them, I wanted to see it. And she went, Saturday? You're going to drive from Los Angeles to San Diego on a Saturday. Why, the traffic is going to suck. And I went, yeah, didn't you take that Silva course? The way it opens before me, it's smooth and easy. I made it there in record time. You know, I would move into the line where the traffic was flowing and moving on. Now, I haven't used it to do the grocery store. I just managed to find the slowest lane in the grocery store almost every time I'm there. But as far as finding parking places and making smooth travel, yeah, the Silva method is very helpful. And using the idea of the movie room to see myself, to heal myself. Marvelous stuff from the Silva method. Does anyone else here study the Silva method?
My original trainer was a Silva method devotee, and so there was a lot of that woven into the training that I discovered after the fact, but I got a lot of that woven in.
Tag Powell, who had the mountains,
Oh,
Top
yeah.
of the Mountain Press here in Florida, was a Silva guy. And he was it was Association for Past Life Research and Therapy, and nobody was volunteering. And I'm the person that says, I'll give like 60 seconds for nobody to accept it because I don't want to be the greedy one. Sure, use me as a demonstration. So let me see if anyone else needs it first. But when I'm in a room with a bunch of professionals, most professionals don't want to admit they have something wrong. I've always got something to work on. And he asked for a volunteer, and it's like, yeah, use me. And it was a phasphobia cure. And he stood behind me and did the pressure on my shoulders. Didn't even watch my face to see the wiggly stuff that I do. And it was amazing. Yeah, so I think the work of Silva method, which is obviously this guy's hypnosis, is an integral part of a lot of different hypnotist foundations.
Mhm. Mhm. Yeah, in fact, Pamela mentions here, she says, I've been considering Silva.
Yes.
What I would tell you, Pamela, is I think you ought to consider Silva and Gurdjieff and everybody, and then take from those experiences whatever works for you, because it seems to me that through all of the stuff that's happened in the last 40, 50 years of human development, there's been a number of con games out there, to be fair, but you don't really get to run a good con game unless you've got at least one thing right. So to me, it seems interesting to study them all, find out what works for you and contributes to you, and by all means, certainly don't leave Silva out.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Any questions?
It's really cool. When people want to learn how to meditate and they don't know how to find silence, all you have to do is just ask for questions in a room full of adults.
Well, Pamela, yes, we all want to know her website. What's your website, Monica? Where can we find you?
Oh, let me see. I have keywesthypnosis.com. I have a Geers Hypnosis that's linking over to that since I'm not living in Key West anymore, but I still have my website, which has way too much information on it. If anyone's taking marketing strategies, I need to clean out my website. By this summer, there's going to be much less material on my website because if you give too much information, people don't buy it. So you have to limit what goes on the website. So if you hand out a freebie, it's supposed to give way too much. I had someone evaluate my website and say, like, you need to clean it up. You need to get rid of this. You leave lures in there so people have to call you because otherwise they look there and they've gotten everything. How you're setting up your classes, what's in the classes, what's the order that is going to happen in, and do I regret taking it down? I do, but I got a marketing person who's looked at it who's told me, yeah, you got too much information in there and you should parse it down smaller. There's still a lot of information on the website, keywesthypnosis.com.
Great. Well, all right then. So, ladies and gentlemen, it's getting to be that time here. Um, I want to mention that next week we will be back at the same time, same bat channel, and we will have Bruce Eimer once again, an interesting fella. And in case you haven't seen him, I think you're going to enjoy you're going to enjoy seeing Bruce next week. And he's going to be talking about surgery preparation, a class that he's doing about surgery preparation. So there's a good one. And then we're going to have Eric Rosen and Patty Scott talk about their medical hypnosis program as well. So that's going to be a wonderful evening, and we will look forward to seeing everybody there then. Anything further to add, Karen?
Wait a minute, I'm looking at the calendar real quick. Yes, before our next presenter series, we will have the virtual chapter. So next Tuesday night, join us for Jim Kellner, who's featured on the chapter.
That's
that's my
and that's from 8:30 until 10 p.m. on Tuesday night. And yeah, it's going to be a good one.
Zoom channel.
Yeah, same channel, same time, same place rather. All right, so thank you again, ladies and gentlemen. And now, Monica, we didn't get to. It's weird when we have two guests, Karen, isn't it? I don't know how to do this.
Right.
Because we always like to give everybody a chance here at the end to open up their microphones, just so that we can just offer a great big wave of love and affection and appreciation to you all at once. So, so please, everybody, say good night to Monica, and we'll say
Thank
good
you,
night to all of
Monica.
you all.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Had a great
Good night,
Thank you so
weekend.
much.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you. Nice for a very informative evening. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Steve.
Thank you, Karen. Thank you, Mike.
Bye.
Michael.
See you soon.